I'm Mikela, and today I will be presenting the public speaking unit. Public speaking is a very important part of daily life and business life. You use public speaking basically every single day, whether it's talking to your friends, giving a speech or a report, singing in front of people, acting, whatever. You probably use it more often than you realize. In a business setting, public speaking is generally used in meetings, press conferences, stuff like that. So, the first tip, number 1, is to dress to impress. As you can see, I am wearing dress. You wouldn't want to show up to something super important, like a meeting where you're in charge, wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt. This rule basically goes for almost anything in the business setting. So, like if you're going to an interview, you don't want to wear sweatpants. It's just stuff like that. But especially when you're public speaking or giving a speech in front of large groups of people, you want to make sure that you don't look really bad, because people always judge on appearance. Tip number 2, I'm sure you're curious what that is. The second tip is to be confident. I know you probably hear that a lot, but I'm going to explain why. Chances are, if you're giving a speech on something, you have put in a lot of time researching and trying to develop a speech. You probably know more about it than almost every single other person in this room. That's probably fair to assume because we're giving a speech on it. Does that make sense? Hope it does. Okay. So that means you must be very confident, because if you aren't confident, people will assume you don't know what you're talking about and they'll discredit you for what you know. The third tip is to cover the 5 W's and an H. So who, what, when, where, why, and how. So basically, you don't want to leave anyone hanging on their information. So if you're going to tell a story about this guy named Bob, what was Bob doing? Where was Bob doing it? When was he doing it? Why? And how did he do it? So you gotta give every single important element in the story or what you're talking about, because if you just say Bob went to the store, did he go to the store to get like cereal? When did he go to the store? Like, you're missing out on a lot of information. Okay, tip number 4, make sure you speak loudly, clearly, and slowly. Chances are, if you're nervous, all of a sudden your voice is going to speed up super fast and no one can understand what you're saying, like I just did. So what you need to do is speak a lot slower, so slow down, because chances are it's normal speed when you actually do it. Okay, and then what you have to make sure you do is that you enunciate. If you're talking fast anyways, if you don't enunciate, people cannot understand what you're saying. Because then, like, was that like how or cow? Like, you don't know. It's very confusing. And then you want to make sure you speak loudly. Even though you have a microphone, if you're in a very big crowd, if you aren't speaking loud enough, the microphone can't pick you up and no one can hear you. So, if you are not speaking, even if you don't have a microphone, you have to make sure everyone in the room can hear you. You want to make sure everyone, even in the way back, can hear what you're saying. Because otherwise they're just like, I don't know what you said, why am I here? It's very important that in public speaking that you are very good at communicating what you're thinking, because people can't read your mind. So if people don't know what you're thinking in your head, you have to be really good at communicating it. So then they'll understand what you're talking about. Also, good posture. You don't want to be slunched over like this when you're telling someone something, because a few things. It makes you seem very closed off to your audience, because if you're like this, you're just like, why are you closing me out? But if you open up your shoulders and you have your back straight, it makes you seem a lot more confident as well. Okay, so now I'm going to give you some vocabulary. So, project. Most of the time, this is more of an acting term, but what you want to do is, if someone will yell it, or while you're in a rehearsal setting, that means you need to be louder because they can't hear you, and chances are they won't hear you in the real thing. next word, fan out. So another rule that I kind of forgot is that you never want to have your back towards your audience, because then all of a sudden your voice becomes muffled, it becomes a lot quieter, because you can't hear you as well. Like, because the voice is going in the opposite direction of where you want it to be. So that means no one can hear you. So if you say fan out, people want to see your face, people want to be able to hear you. Improvisation is when it's more of an acting term, but if you forget your line, or if you forget what you're supposed to say and you can't find it, you don't want to freeze there and be like, give me a second. So what you need to do is that you need to come up with something on the spot that goes along with what you said. Now I'm going to give you some games to play with your friends to help you practice public speaking. Okay, our first game is the news. So what you want to do is, if you're in a large group of people, you want to divide it into groups of 3 or 4, and you're going to give the news, basically. So each person is required to tell one story. So it could be about anything. It could be about getting a new set of pencils. It could be about anything that's actually on the news, getting huge attention from the media. It could be basically anything, but you want to have the big news treatment for everything. Okay? So then what you want to make sure is you include the 5 W's and an H. So who, what, when, where, how, why. Make sure everyone is getting a fair share of time, and everyone is giving the big news treatment, making sure nothing seems unimportant. The second game we're going to play, or not we're going to play, but you can play, is called I'm a Tree. So this is a game based on improvisation. So you have a large group of people and you form a circle. Someone starts off in the middle and is a tree. So they'll be like, I am a tree. Then someone else comes into the circle and says, like, I am bark on the tree or something. It has to be something related to the tree. Then another person will come in the circle and be like, I'm the grass, because grass is related to a tree. Okay? And then once the 3 people are in the circle, the first person, who is the tree, chooses someone else to take out of the circle. So then the round restart, or there's a new round with the person that was left in. So if I was a tree and it took out the bark, then the grass would be left, and 2 new people would come in, and it goes over and over. So this is for thinking quick on your feet. Make sure that everyone gets a chance to come in. So if you've gone in like 10 times and someone's like hasn't even gone in, try to let everyone have a chance, because the game ends when someone else goes in and says, I'm a tree, and then the game's over. So this can be a short game, a long game, however long it actually ends up being. And that's it for public speaking. Thanks for watching, share it with your friends, and stay posted for more videos. You use public speaking. You what, who, what, when, where, why, and how. Okay, same thing.